Hello, everybody. It's your old friends at Monday Madness, and welcome to this episode of the Best of All Worlds podcast. Jerry, this is a very exciting time for us all. This is our first episode of our Star Trek podcast under the new parish. How do you like how do you like what we've done with the place? It's all kind of like neon lights and stuff.
It's
It's
it,
all
it's all it's all nice and fresh and lovely and I can do or anything on camera and nobody will know what I'm doing. So it's
yeah,
great.
yeah, exactly. That's the joy of this. We're audio only, folks. So Jerry literally does have liberties when it
I
comes to
could literally be in the nip.
What do you mean literally could be in the nip? Anyway, so um, as anyone who is a returning customer to our series will know, this is our podcast where we review selected or curated episodes of Star Trek from any generation, whether it be the original series, next gen, to some of the new Trek, which is appropriate because this episode is the first one we're doing of New Trek. And again, to those uninitiated, this is from when Star Trek was cancelled initially from Enterprise onwards. So from Discovery to what is now Starfleet Academy is kind of the new Trek and beyond, whatever may happen after that. So, Jerry, we're jumping into Star Trek Picard for our first foray into New Trek. Well, actually, that's not true. We have done Lower Decks, we've done Strange New Worlds, but this is the first time we've done Picard on the
Yeah.
series. And it's interesting because we've kind of done a bit of a Romulan arc to start off this kind of, I suppose, new continuity, if you like. And this is why we picked this episode in particular, because this is one of the only episodes that really gets stuck into Romulan culture. This is the episode Absolute Candor, as we recall. And obviously this loops in with the kind of like reoccurring stories that were happening throughout the episode. So, Jerry, how much do you recall from this episode, considering it's only a few years out now at this stage, really?
Well, I just did a rewatch of all seasons of Picard, I think, within the last 6 months. So I remember a little bit of it, but it is interesting to see a little bit more about or learn a bit more about the Romulans.
Mm.
Even if it's only a little bit. Like when it comes to learning more about the Romulans, the companion books to Star Trek Picard, you actually learn even more.
Yeah.
Which I found very interesting. I have to say there was three books in particular that were very Romulan central with regards to Picard,
Yeah.
and it really good, like really good. It kind of gets right into the heart of what's happening with the supernova and how Starfleet were supposed to be helping them but didn't, and how they took it really. So it is very interesting that, but it delves into more about the Romulans than ever before, and that's what this was kind of like the start of it. This episode certainly was the start of it. So it's I think Star Trek Picard season one it gets a bad rap
Yeah.
because I think the reason it gets a bad rap is not because the season is bad. It's just people expected something different. They expected, oh, if Picard is back, then surely they're all going to be back, and
Mm.
that wasn't the case. That was never going to happen in the first season. They had to see how a couple of seasons went before they got the band back together, and of course they did get the band back together, and that was that.
Mm.
And we got the fantastic Picard season 3. So I think season 1 and especially season 2 gets a really bad rap. But I genuinely like all 3 seasons. I think it's the fact that we're getting Star Trek. We have
Yeah.
been getting Star Trek for the last number of years. Stop fucking complaining. You can say you don't like it, but at least give her a go. At least try it. Like, okay, did I like Starfleet Academy? Not particularly. No, I didn't particularly like it. But did I watch every episode of it? Yes, I did. Do you want to
Mm.
know why? Because I'm a fucking Star Trek fan. That's why. So I watched it. Some things I liked, some things I didn't. And we move on. It got season 2. Great. We'll watch season 2 when it comes out. Now they're not going to be getting to season 3. And that's sad. I genuinely do think it's sad. Did I like Discovery? No, but I still watch it.
Mm.
I love Strange New Worlds. I think Strange New Worlds fantastic. I loved Lower Decks. And maybe if the producers and the creators, Alex Kurtzman and whatnot, and Paramount actually listened to the fans, then their shows might be, oh, I don't know, a little bit fucking better,
Yeah.
or at least more people would watch and go, okay, let's give this a go, because we have been screaming since Picard season 3 for Star Trek Legacy. Give us Star Trek Legacy. Give us Captain Seven. Give us that crew that we had. You don't need to have the next generation crew back. You could have them dotting in every now and then.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Give us that new crew. Give us something new in the era that we wanted in.
Mm.
Now, even the fact that a lot of people, still a lot of people don't like the Enterprise G, they'll fucking watch Star Trek Legacy if you give it to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, more Star Trek is a good thing.
Yeah.
But and like I said, like the fact that like we as fans kind of get to have the luxury of being fussy with it is probably says a lot, to be perfectly honest with you, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
it is a sheer notion of like, well, I like that Star Trek, but this one's a bit too kind of high schooly for me, or this one's a little bit too comically for me, whatever. It's like, yeah, but that's the idea of the medium, is to try different things out and see if it works. The joy of science fiction as a genre is that it can kind of go with anything. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
But certainly with going back to the kind of the Picard argument, like out of all the series that we've had with Star Trek, and obviously there's a certain formula with the kind of legacy series, shall we say, like Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. Picard is the one that changes the most over the 3 seasons, doesn't it? Because they're three very different shows. Like you could argue that like they're almost like literally three multiverses in that respect, where like one is treated separate to the other. In kind of tone and in kind of like, to a certain degree in quality, season 3 is leagues ahead of the other two. But again, not to say that they're not bad. It's just a different approach with different people. And find me a Star Trek series that nails it in season 1. They usually don't. It's all still very experimental until they kind of establish who works and what doesn't. So as I said, we're still in this kind of experimental phase where they're trying stuff out, a very bespoke story for Captain Picard himself, and also then trying to kind of find villains and threats and stuff that's going to work for the series as well. So, listen, we've talked about it enough. Let's jump into Absolute Candor and see what was all the fuss about. So, Jerry, are you ready to start with us?
I am ready to go.
Excellent. So, guys, in case you're uninitiated, if you're watching this for the first time, this is the best of all worlds, both watch along and review. So, we're going to watch the episode live on the episode here with us. Watch along with us on your streaming device of choice if you can. If you don't want to, skip ahead to the next chapter, and then we'll give you a trivia and then a review of the episode then after that, because that's how the show works. So, until then, let's count us in then on 3, 2, 1, engage. It's been a while since I said that. I think this was probably the first jarring bit for me in Star Trek Picard. The fact that like journalists is still a thing in the sort of like, but not like actual journalists, but like shock journalists.
Yeah.
It was quite. There was a bit of lacking of subtext. It was very super text. It's like these people are the assholes type of thing.
How he's treated in that interview, it's very nowadays, isn't it? It's how a journalist would do it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of the issue that a lot of people had with New Trek, is that like it's a bit too contemporary. Like normally with science fiction, you add a veil of kind of like sign of futuristic tone over it. So instead of like outright saying like this person is the villain, you kind of build a scenario that presents the villainry as opposed to just outright saying you're an asshole. It's, I was gonna say bad writing. It's quick writing. It's lazy writing to a certain degree, because again, with the way things are structured nowadays, you've only got 10 episodes instead of 24. You need to kind of get a move on.
Yeah. Now, this is the thing that I've always wondered about Star Trek, and especially this. So we saw that this is Planet Vashti in the Beta Quadrant.
Yes.
Okay. How close is the Beta Quadrant to Federation space? Because if you put it into context of Star Trek Voyager, it takes them 70. It's going to take them 70 years to travel 70,000 light years.
Yes.
So how close is the Federation to Romulan space in the Beta Quadrant? I know majority of Romulan space is in the Beta Quadrant.
Yes.
But I'm like, surely we're not that close to where the Beta Quadrant is, and I'm like, this is the continuity in Star Trek is so fucking strange.
Yeah, I'm trying. You see, I was even trying to remember whether they could have argued that they used the kind of transwarp kind of like channels that the Borg left behind, but they can't use that because that network was all destroyed, so that doesn't even fly. Yeah, I'm trying to remember now. Like, I think I'm trying to remember what the actual like Alpha Quadrant like borders look like. I don't know. Like, I think you're right in the sense that Romulan space basically backs onto the other quadrant.
Yeah.
And realistically, kind of like the Starfleet section is basically on the far end. It's like if you like the bottom left of the map, if you like, and
Mm.
Romulus is like top right. I think that I'm going by memory now because I think the Klingon one is just basically like a big ball in the middle of it, you know, like kind of demilitarized zone, you know.
Yeah. It is. It's so weird because they've created so many races. How where do you put them where did you put
Yeah,
every one of them? It's
I think
like
to
it's
Strange
like
New Worlds credit, they're the first one I've seen that actually is consistent with where they put everybody. So
yeah,
like they've made it a point of saying this is where the Gorn are, avoid at all costs, because obviously that's the kind of through line of the whole series so far. But even the
yeah.
stuff like this is where Beta Z is, and we haven't even gone near Beta Z. There's no contact with Beta Z yet at this stage. This is where the Tellarites are, a woefully underused race in Star Trek lore generally. But like they're family fathers of the race. Maybe you'd like to see a bit more of them around, you know. But at least you know where they are in context of the map, you
Mm.
know. What did you make of the Romulan warrior monks as they were introduced here? Because I found this a very like inconsistent with what we knew of Romulans generally. But I suppose that's the whole point of this episode is that like this is actually what they actually are like as opposed to what we know them to be.
True. Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying, but if you take the Romulans in the same context as humans,
Yeah,
if you do that, then humans are all American
yeah, yeah,
in Star Trek.
absolutely.
That's it's and Earth is just America, but it's a global America.
Yes.
Whereas when you look at it, there are so many different people on Earth. There's so many different. There's different races. There's different beliefs.
Mm,
There's a little bit of everything everywhere across the globe. So there has to be something like that when it comes to Romulans. Not all the Romulans have to be the same, and it was nice and refreshing to see something like this because obviously you've got a different group as well
mm.
that would have been partnered with Spock.
Yeah.
Those people who want reunification. So they're not your typical Romulans. They're completely different. They're
Mm.
not the real militaristic, secretive fuckers.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of Romulans are perceived as that.
Yeah, I suppose it's that kind of like, you know, like how well do you know Russians in that respect? You know, it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like what you are aware of as the Soviet bloc is nowhere near what the truth actually is now, and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But I suppose this is also a very kind of like very poignant kind of idea of like this is and maybe Deep Space Nine is where they kind of started this writing approach where like Deep Space Nine, the biggest theme of that was religious tolerance. You know, it was about
Yeah.
like how the like Bajor basically turned to religion as a coping mechanism for being under suppression from the Cardassians.
Hmm.
And there's absolutely nothing to say that Romulus would do the exact same thing when their sun goes supernova, because, you know, if that happened to us, a lot of atheists would probably start praying to God because that you need salvation, you need hope, you need
Yeah.
coping mechanisms, you know? So even if something like this looks silly to us in a sense where, like, yeah, warrior monks does sound silly as a concept, but if Romulus is generally like a kind of like, you know, aggressive race, and I say that in quotation marks, then that the religious is going to be very front foot and very initiative based, you know?
Now, obviously, we're into the credits now. This is probably the one thing I genuinely did not like about seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Were these credits? I didn't care for them. I didn't like the music.
Mm.
And generally, this is the type of music I like. I do like classical style music, but this didn't hit for me.
It's
There's just
really it's
something
good.
about
It's
it.
just not a Star Trek theme. It's like
No.
Discovery for me. It's like
Oh
this is
yeah.
perfectly fine. If Discovery was not Star Trek oriented, if it was just a standalone sci-fi show, I'd have loved it
Like
because it sets its own rules.
whoever created, I actually don't even know. I don't know if it was Alex Kurtzman or someone else. Whoever did Strange New Worlds, they really got it. They really do get Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like the starting music,
Mm.
the flyby of the ship. It's just the whole show has just been great. Now, is every episode great? No, I really did not like the singing episode with the singing Klingons. No, I did not like that fucking episode. The episode where some of them became puppets, I did not like that episode. But
Yes.
the episode where you had a couple of people from Lower Decks that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
I think it's very much on it. I don't think this is limited to just Star Trek either. It very much depends on who's doing what on an
Yeah.
episode, because I've had to get into the habit now of checking, okay, which episodes are Jonathan Frakes directing, and usually if you check them, they're some of the better ones,
Yeah.
or you check like
Well,
who's on
there
the
you go.
writing staff and stuff. Yeah,
There's his name right there,
there you
directed
go.
by Jonathan
Say his
Frakes.
name when he appears. There you go. I will say, by the way, the La Serena. Now, I know you haven't played Mass Effect yet, Jerry. More on that later. But this is a total rip-off of Normandy from Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
Total rip-off. Like, it's very much showing, like, what people were thinking of in terms of spaceships by the time that comes around. And weirdly enough, when you see Normandy, you'll go, that's a total rip-off of Battlestar Galactica. Like, it's it's that kind of thing where, like, just people's, like, idea of what a ship is changes so much, you know. It's that kind of idea of a cruiser, of something going fast, you know.
What I find interesting about all three seasons of Star Trek Picard is that they learned a little bit from each season.
Yes.
Then we got to the final season. So in this one, you have the digital display that just pops up like holographic display, and I'm like, Star Trek, that's not what people like. So by the second season, that's gone. You've got the bridge that they use for the Zheng He that Riker is on in the last episode.
Yeah.
And it's just a redress of the Discovery Bridge, which is fucking huge.
Yeah,
like,
it's
absolutely
huge,
enormous. And people are like, no, we don't want that for this. So when we get to the next show, you've got that new bridge that's being used for
the Titan.
Well, the Titan is just a redress of what was the Stargazer?
Yes. Oh, Stargazer. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it's the same bridge. It's just a redress of that. So
yeah.
They did learn a few things. The one thing I really, really wanted, was to learn more about him.
Yeah.
I really wanted to know more. And the fact that they basically killed him off in season 2. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So when the books came out, you learn so much more about him, and more about the ship, and more about even his holograms that are on the ship. You learn so much more. The book about him is fantastic.
Okay, I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Because I'm kind of sitting with you in that respect, where, like, for me, I think the issue was that, like, a lot of effort into writing went to the characters that just didn't click, and I think that's what kind of really drags down Picard to a certain degree, because if they had known ahead of time that these characters were going to work and these weren't, I think the shows generally would have flowed a lot better.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially like season 2 having a whole kind of subplot with Jurati really impacts season 2, because I think Jurati was probably the least popular of those characters, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think the Soji and Daj kind of like through line worked either, but I think there was a bit of goodwill there because it was still connected to Data, and it was a bit of a kind of sign off for his kind of character. Well, at the time that we thought, anyway. But what I will say is, at least, very least, with the majority of the casting worked very well. Like, the people playing these characters are doing their absolute best. It's just that the writing is letting them down that little bit. You know, again, it feels like we're being very harsh with the writing even before we start. But, like, you know, like usually Star Trek does get a lot of plaudits for having some of the best written episodes and best written characters. So this is high praise in that respect.
There is one thing I'll say. Just something happened there. I do like the fact that there's cursing in Star Trek now.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of the road with that, to be honest. You know, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think it's because they are literally just like taking advantage of it, but like certain shows were almost giddy to do it. Like Discovery were definitely giddy to do it, and that was a bit too meta for my liking. Where like they said they both dropped F-bombs and kind of high-fived each other. It's like, grow the fuck up.
Well, I did like the very first episode in Star Trek Picard. There's the sheer fucking hubris, but that works.
That works
because
absolutely.
She's pissed off. She's like, the sheer fucking hubris of you. Get the fuck out of my office.
Yeah.
But then Picard says it in, I think it's season 3. He says fuck in one of the seasons. Anyway, he says fuck, and I'm like, I don't think that hit quite as well.
Yeah, it was when he was giving out to Q in season 2. I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're just putting it in for the sake of putting it in now.
Yeah, exactly. You have the age of water. You have the age gate now, so you're going to use it.
Yeah, if it works, then fine. But if it doesn't,
yeah. Again, this is the other aspect of like, of New Trek that it misses is the language that it speaks. Is like, yeah, like Next Gen and to so definitely to a certain degree the original series has a very stilted approach to how the characters speak. It's an almost Shakespearean approach, because the idea with Shakespearean works is that we're not saying that the people spoke like this at the time. It's so that this is like in universe, this is how they approach each other. This is the common tongue that they have. It's up to us to try and understand what they're saying. Likewise with Star Trek, and again to a certain degree with some other kind of shows, it's up to us to figure out what they're talking about. Like one of my favorite movies is Blade Runner, for example. Blade Runner does not wait for you to do the fucking correspondence course. It expects you to understand what the fuck these guys are talking about. And if you're not on board, sorry about you. Start again and learn something from the next one.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea, is that language evolves over time. Is that like whatever colloquialisms that we have now is not going to be the case in 200 years time. Like poppycock was one of the worst words you could say. Now it doesn't even tickle our algorithm. Eventually, and I'm afraid to say it, Jerry, but the word cunt is going to be completely dehumanized, demilitarized. It's going to be completely, gone. It's going to be extinct.
I hope not.
It's going to be replaced with something else.
Such a good word.
Yeah. Listen, we know bollocks survives to the 23rd century, so we got that at least. That's our little bit of cultural integration into the space.
Yeah.
Now, I really like this concept because it explains Romulans so much.
Yeah.
They're basically just Finnish. They're just so fucking, or Dutch. They're just so blunt. It's like, that's it, done. It's gone. It's out the ether.
But there's another thing I find interesting about this show. Just I keep seeing little things. So, Captain Rios, smokes a cigar. So he's not he's not an outlaw, but he's
Yeah.
He's not a captain or anything now, but by season 2, he's sitting on the bridge of the Stargazer with a fucking cigar. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. And then season 3, we have our enemy, the changelings.
Yes.
And she's smoking. I'm like, what the fuck's with all the smoking in this show? What the hell? Like,
I was reading something about that one time where I was trying to figure out why so many Japanese game protagonists smoke cigarettes. And it was purely by the fact that, especially when American movies started making it across to Japan, these are all westerns and kind of action movies and stuff like that, and all the cool and because of the product placement of people smoking Woodbines or Marlboro or anything along those lines, cowboys smoked because it was cool to do it, type of thing. So that little bit of integration or that little bit of soft power, if you like, of American media going into Japan conditioned a lot of game designers to think that if you smoke a cigarette, you're automatically a cool character. So a lot of them do. Case in point, then the main character of Devil May Cry 3, which is Dante, the main character completely just opposed that and tried to make a character that is so cool he didn't need to smoke, do drugs, or drink, but he hunts demons. So that's how cool the character is. That's his approach. I was like, that's fucking really
by the
clever.
way, great fucking series to bring up. What a fucking set of games. My God.
But that's a great example of where you think that character should go in terms of its design, and you would expect that guy to be kind of puffing this cigar while hunting down monsters and angels. Nope, doesn't need it. He just needs big fuck off swords, big fuck off guns, and a trench coat.
Yeah, you've obviously there was a trailer even came out today. So the new Supergirl trailer has Lobo coming in on his bike with a cigar in his mouth. I'm like,
yeah,
but that's Lobo. That's exactly how he's written in the comics. He comes in on the bike with a cigar, and that's just the way it is, But I just didn't expect so much smoking in Star Trek, I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. But I suppose you could make the argument that because medicine has improved so much that people could just smoke as for aesthetical purposes only. It is literally just a twitch or a habit. A cigar is essentially the same as a fidget.
True. And don't get me wrong, I love a cigar, especially a good quality one. I don't smoke them very often, and I'm not going to get a Hamlet out of the shop or anything like that. We're talking about proper cigars here. It's a lovely cigar that I like, called a Balmoral. And it's just really smooth. It doesn't hurt your throat. It doesn't give you a bad chest. really, really nice. You just can't get them anymore.
Mm,
But I have tried the likes of a Cuban and stuff like that
yeah,
many, many years ago, and they're just. See. I like the taste. A lot of
yeah.
people won't like the taste or smell of a cigar. I do. Um, I just think they're nice. I
Yeah.
wouldn't touch a cigarette. I wouldn't touch anything like that. I actually have tried a pipe.
Mm,
Extremely harsh.
yeah, they are.
Why anyone would smoke a pipe? I'm like, don't get it. They're extremely harsh. But
You need to
cigars now.
compare notes with KC. He's a bit of a cigar man himself. So
Oh, okay, that's good to
yeah,
know.
yeah, not very popular.
No,
No.
obviously the Quat Milan don't believe in doors.
I mean, they're warrior nuns, so like it's up to
Yeah.
you if you want to approach them. So place has gone to shit. So what's going on?
Mm.
It's all gone very racist down below, hasn't it? I love the combat for La Serena as well. It's just the kind of seahorsey design is just it's really nice. I wonder who that could be. It's a real mystery. Anyway, back to part two.
Now I have to say, I find this guy extremely interesting. I thought he was a great character. He
Mm.
played a perfect Romulan. He was fantastic. I thought.
Yeah, he's in my kind of deserved better material category.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He definitely deserved to be included. Even bring him into season 2 or season 3, whatever it was, or to
Mm.
just give him something better.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't get it because he's a fantastic actor. I don't even know his name. But he's a fantastic actor. I'm sure
Mm.
we'll be discussing him afterwards. But I only discovered recently. I was wanted to watch some new shows, as you do, and I
Yeah.
came across a show on Netflix called Mr. Mercedes,
Okay.
and he's the main protagonist in it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm sorry, antagonist. Antagonist, the bad guy, isn't it?
Villain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the main antagonist in it. He's fucking
Yeah.
brilliant.
Harry Treadaway,
So
in
good.
case you're wondering, Jerry.
He is so good in it. So good.
But again, it's that kind of thing where like I think that's what was always the kind of the appeal of the Romulan characters, especially in the next generation, is that they're seldomly used but well deployed. So like normally when they do show up, it's because something weird is happening. It's like they
Yeah.
don't normally show up for any of these other kerfuffles. But oh, there's a ship stuck in a rock and there's a Romulan warship floating around. What's going on there? You know?
Like I think when people think of Romulans, you're gonna go to the obvious ones. So like the original series type Romulans, or if you're thinking Next Generation, you're going to think automatically of Tomalak, Sela,
Yeah,
Romulans like
especially,
that. Like there's a handful of them in Deep Space Nine. Senator Vreenak,
Yeah.
being one of them. But you don't think of her. You think you just think of the bad guys. You just think of the bad Romulans.
Yeah.
You to a certain lesser extent, you'll think of Shinzon
Yes.
of Remus. The fact that he's not Romulan, he's not Reman, he's fucking human. He is Picard. And that's what you're thinking of. So you generally think of the devilish ones, the evil
Yeah.
Romulans. You don't think of any of the kind of good ones.
But that's also just being drawn by villains as well, though. Like villains are are more fun to write because you have to make them villains. You can't just be like a paragon for no reason. In a sense, you do actually have to have a reason to be this way. So naturally, that lays credence to some actual like effort in the writing.
Hmm.
It'd be interesting to actually talk to like someone like Von Armstrong or someone like one of those kind of other kind of Star Trek chameleons who's had to play different races and pick their brains over which one they found hardest to play because they're the dullest. Like obviously humans would be top of the bill, but like when they put on the prosthetics, what would be actually the most difficult, you know?
Mm.
Ah, look at them so happy together. Little does she know that he fancies his sister.
Oh dear.
that
Um,
was the subplot to this whole thing. It was like
yeah,
this kind of weird little
it's weird.
like yeah
The one
yeah
thing I'll say is, so I don't remember I said to you at the start, I don't like the entrance. That the kind of the it's not the opener
yeah.
for a Star Trek show. It's weird. But by God, do they get the music right in this?
Hmm.
And by season 3, Jesus, I honestly,
Yeah.
I feel season 3 Star Trek Picard is the best music of any Star Trek show, and it's on par with as any single television show ever made. It's as good. I just think the music is fantastic.
And again, there is an argument to say that like it doesn't get that good without learning from the mistakes of the first two seasons.
Yeah,
There is that argument to say that like
yeah,
you know, and again, you could say the same thing about a lot of long running shows outside of Star Trek. Is like whatever like mishaps and failings you do in the first season, trying to get your like a kind of act together, that kind of paints what you do then for the rest of the run. You know,
mm,
and again, I have a degree of sympathy in a sense because like these series are more easier to cancel than the syndicated era. You know, well
yeah,
like back when you did have the Next Generation, you were guaranteed 24 episodes to get stuff right. Like that's like okay, granted they're longer episodes now, but you're still dealing with like going from like 20 hours of content to 8 or 10. That's a lot of pressure, you know? You have to get stuff right, and every scene kind of counts now. So then when you have a show that's trying to do a lot of like groundwork and stuff like that, it kind of shows, you know. And unless you are very, very particular with what you show on screen, you either skip corners or you just have a chill episode for no reason, you know, which some
yeah.
shows do and some shows don't. I want that bread, by the way. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I
Doesn't it?
yeah.
It's like it's like a. Do you know what it reminds me of? You know those like little Liga bars, Liga biscuits for babies. It looks like
Yeah.
a giant Liga bar, and I'll be the first to admit it, lads. They're fucking delicious. Fuck the
They
children.
they
I
are
mean,
no, they are. They're lovely.
they
But
did
didn't
not. Did they?
Yeah.
Fuck.
what? They got rid of
That's-
them?
They got no. They changed the recipe
Ah, that son of a bitch! Why would you do that?
because all
Like-
the adults
like-
were eating them off the children. That's
yeah,
why.
true. Yeah.
Oh,
Probably put fucking poison or something in for adults.
Yeah.
Just looking at that bread, though, it reminds me more of Lord of the Rings, actually, with the lambus breads from the
Yeah,
elves.
actually, that's a good shout. It's a good shout, actually. Yeah. Just goes to show you the sci-fi food, man. There's a series in that. There really is a series in that.
Oh, the amount of times I've seen food in this show or these shows, and I'm like, oh my god, look at that. Jesus.
We've had this conversation with Gak before. You know?
I would give Gak a go.
Yeah.
I would absolutely. And then when you look at but there was an episode where they had lots of. Remember they had the
The foreign exchange episode
yeah,
where Riker
and
goes,
then loads of different food. I'm like, yeah, give me a bit of that.
the
Blood-
bright, the neon
Some
blue.
Klingon blood pie. I'd give that a
Yeah.
go.
I mean, blood pie is just gonna be just black pudding. To be fair, it just sounds worse because it
Probably,
says
yeah.
Basically, ship. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It says black pudding. I'd say I'd say something like at least like Klingon cuisine. I say is properly everything is like sour, bitter, salty. I'd say they don't seem like a spicy bunch of people. Maybe they are. I don't know. Cardassian, I say, is definitely spicy.
They're definitely spicy, like yamak sauce with sand peas. I mean,
Mmm.
yeah, I try to eat that as well. Like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, as I say, and a lot of the food in Star Trek, like I really want to give that a go.
Yeah.
Like
I'd say,
do you remember the really thick Canar?
yeah. That's something that looks like fucking crude oil.
I'm looking at that going, no, I don't like that. But there was a particular episode, actually, our number one episode,
Yes.
which is
Absolutely.
Way the Warrior. There's Canar that was poured for Garrick that looked like coffee,
Yeah.
and it looked lovely. I'm like, I really want to give that a go.
Yeah. You have Canar so thick you could run a fucking car on it. So, Canar, or as I like to call it, black diesel.
Well, be
Very
careful.
Irish joke for anyone.
Yeah, be careful. It costs you 220 a bleeding liter.
Well, there's gonna be a few weeks after this comes out, Jerry, so it's actually 260 now.
Jesus Christ, don't say that.
I
I
need to get
just
home after
I
this.
just bought a diesel car for fuck's sake.
You might be better off just buying a fucking bicycle, Jerry, to be honest with you. You might get faster.
I actually am cycling to work now.
There you go. There you go. So you, you, you
I'm
get
literally only driving 2 days a week now, which is Saturdays and Sundays.
you've had your bets now.
Yeah.
This is another one of the characters they put a lot of effort into, and I don't think they got the return. Is
No.
it just again? It's the kind of thing where like I feel bad for the actor as well because he is trying to be a good Romulan,
Mm.
but just the character is weak, unfortunately. Just
To to me, he was written more like an emotional Vulcan than a Romulan.
actually, yeah, a little bit. Like I know there's supposed to be like kind of like a father son analog to it, but it just kind of falls apart after this season.
To me, I never got the father son thing with these two. I got more of a grandfather grandson kind of situation with these two.
That too, actually, yeah, yeah. It's especially in the opening scene there, where it was very much like it was very reminiscent to the Inner Light when he was playing with the grandkids,
Yeah.
which then also is great kind of comparison then to when Jack Crusher's about and he's like trying to discipline him. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. He's 21 now. The horse is kind of fucking bolted.
Yeah. I do find what I find funny about season three is that the chap who plays Jack Crusher, fantastic actor. I think he played the character really well.
Yes,
But he is playing like a 21, 22 year old, correct?
yeah, should be, yeah.
Yeah. I again, I don't know the actor's name, but he's closer to my age than he is 21. I'm
Yeah, I
like,
think it's Ed
fucking
Summers, I
hell.
think his name is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's in his mid to late 30s. I'm like, how the fuck are you pulling off a 21-year-old? You can fuck off.
Babyface, man. That's how it is. Which is whatever your cast is. This will probably become more to the point in our review of the episode, but like there is genuinely an allegory kind of left on the floor for this episode, which is the refugee crisis in a lot of
Yeah.
countries. As like they kind of basically like he kind of takes a wrong approach here in a sense where like now obviously this is more to do with like this is him understanding how Romulans function as opposed to anything else, but it's a case where like you kind of left the social commentary on the table here when it comes to why have been people like become so kind of distant like this.
Hmm.
I'm also glad as well that not everyone has the same fucking haircut as well in Romulus. Like
Hmm.
there's actually a bit of variety that not everyone is just like the PS1 Widow's Peak.
Hmm.
I mean someone had to give out. I can actually, you have the poise for it.
born in the 19th, 5 generations, parents, grandparents, siblings, spouses, children. The 19th brought us here. The Watchalong.
Genuinely, probably one of the best scenes in the whole season.
Hmm.
Because that is the one point where like you actually hear the angst of the people that have been left to the situation.
The very moment when we doubted ourselves, they touched us with your empty promises, and then everything in your power to scatter, confuse, and divide up. That is not so. I promise you. Give him your door. No.
I'm too old to fight. Now, lay off the executive producer. He is literally that old. Watch out, he's a warrior nun. You were warned, in fairness.
Federation has failed you all. I broke faith with you. And the result was terrible. Pain and loss for you all. And I am sorry.
Quickly, before there's more political violence. We've already killed one senator. One thing I did like about Picard generally is that they did not like mind people using their natural accents when they're playing characters. Like we famously talk about the Irish Romulan, which is hilarious because she is the proper Irish mammy style of Romulan, which is the most terrifying, I think.
Well, she says this is the thing. She says slancher.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, again, there's nothing to say that you didn't have a few cheeky Romulans making a new living in Ireland. Like,
yeah.
not to say that like like history runs in circles, but yeah.
Now here's the weirdness.
Oh yeah. For those of the wrestling circles, here comes the Birchells, because that's what I was calling them the entire fucking time.
It's so fucking weird
and so unnecessary as well. It's like this is the part of where like one of the writing staff needed to be kind of put away in a box and made to write something else.
What I find very strange is that he plays this role and it's almost incestuous. But he
Yes.
also has an incestuous role in Mr. Mercedes as well. So it's really weird.
So, we loved your work on Star Trek Picard.
So would you
Which
ride your
bit?
ma? You know?
So, oh, I've been cast in a new play. Oh, really? What is it? My Oedipus complex. Oh, okay, right, yeah, yeah.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oof, oof. Any
I,
reason? Any reason why? Do you think?
I think I've been typecast for riding me sister and me ma.
Yeah. Tune
Ah,
in.
bollocks.
Yes, let's all act surprised when Harry Treadaway leads the next revamp of Deliverance. Again, we'll probably talk about this in the review of the episode, but like it is very much evident when you're watching these back that like some of the stories were really falling on their arse, and some of them were like you wanted more of it. I wanted more of that moment with the senator. I wanted more of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this. This is shit. This is really, really poor. You know, this is the stuff that like you would have learned maybe during the kind of like, initial bit of pre-production that this was not gonna fly. And this is where you need to start writing on the fly a bit. The Borg and Romulan kind of connection was an interesting one as well because there's a later episodes where it goes into the connections more so about like kind of the ancient computers type of storyline, which modern sci-fi is obsessed about. Which like, oh yes, all like again, this is also taken straight from Mass Effect, where like all inorganic life basically, made its own extinction event and went away. So now it's all become this kind of weird homunculus somewhere elsewhere.
I have to say now, I love the fact that we got an original Romulan bird of prey.
Yeah. Again, it not much of that is mentioned about it. It's like they've had to go back to that's all they have left is the original Bird of Prey. Like they don't have the Deredexes, or if there is, they're very few and far between. Like could very well be the equivalent of fucking coffin ships.
Yeah.
Should be. Si eso va de eso. Vete, podría usar un poco de ayuda. Bueno, yo disparo.
There is definitely some sort of like psychosis going on if you have emergency holograms that all look like you. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh,
but
listen. No, listen. You need to read the book.
really?
Yes.
Is there stuff about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All I'll say is he's Snitsky.
Oh no.
It's not his fault.
I'm glad you clarified because there's a few different ways you could have gone with this Stitsky comparison.
Oh, well, yeah. He doesn't kick babies.
He doesn't kick babies, he doesn't brush his teeth, he sucks toes. Like, there's various different ways we can go with this.
Yeah.
Like, lads, you've had to break it up. You have to searing off an antique. Like, the insurance on that is massive.
Hmm. Yeah, but the classic tax is fine.
Ah, yeah. To be fair, yeah. You can see from the ZX reg on the front of the Bird of Prey.
Mhm.
Oh, Shakar. Also, we also owe you a series, but that's a separate issue.
Yes, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I remember seeing that moment for the first time, and you're like, you knew Seven was going to be in the show,
Mm.
but then you're like, oh fuck, that's how they're bringing her in.
Yeah, yeah.
She's not a member of Starfleet.
Mm.
You know,
It suited the vibe, considering that, like, obviously you were on this kind of rogue ship anyway. So, and again, the common theme was that basically Starfleet kind of reneged on a lot of its kind of key principles. So yeah, why wouldn't someone who is like essentially like a born protagonist in Seven of Nine bother with Starfleet at this point? It seems fair. But yeah, that's Absolute Candor. That's Starship Picard. And obviously, we're going to keep with the theme of Absolute Candor with our review, and we'll see where it ranks with the rest of our episodes. Again, if you are new to this series by being in the other parish, we have an entire backlog for you to catch up on and various different reviews. So if you see an episode in our list that piques your interest, check it back on our other parish, and there's a Russ. Or you can, if you're listening to the audio version of this, just scroll up down a bit, you'll find it. So in the meantime, let's talk about our Sundry before we do. It's been a while since you've done a Shipyards, Jerry, because we've always been watching the same stuff. But excitingly enough, we actually do have a new ship to talk about, and that is the La Serena. So, the La Serena is officially a Kaplan F-15 speed freighter. I presume Kaplan is like, the whatever the upgrade on General Motors would be in the 24th century. Or maybe it's a Volvo, who knows. But obviously, it's Captain Rios' ship at this point before it becomes Raffi's eventually. Yeah, like I said, it's very much a Mass Effect ship, really, in design. It's very angular, very kind of like origami-like in that respect. But it's supposed what you kind of expect for a kind of cruiser of that fashion. Obviously, La Serena is the Spanish for mermaid, hence the com badge is the way it is. What I love as well about it is that, like, if everyone has kind of ships like that they basically kind of tailor made to themselves, that they have to get their own kind of com badges commissioned, which I think is hilarious. So, like, just imagine, like, okay, we need to go for, like, we need now, like, all other, like, we have to call in the ship something really unfortunate, the Tallywhacker. What kind of com bridge do we go with that?
Jesus Christ, Jonathan. But listen, when it comes to the ship and the inner workings of the ship, the holograms, everything to do with it, and even how Rios gets the ship is all in the Star Trek Picard supplement book, which is about him and La Serena. And the story is fantastic. It really, really is. You'll really enjoy it, honest to God.
Yeah.
It has some little twists and turns along the way. I don't read very much anymore, but I got the audiobook version, and it's honestly, it's fantastic, and I would recommend it to anybody. I think the entire series of books that they have, some are prequels, some are, say, current to the show, and then some are sequels. So I'm moving on to the very last book, which is set after it's set after season 3 of Picard. Nice. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now, I will say this. There is one book in it. Again, the writing is fantastic. I think the story is very good. But there's a particular character in it that's one of my more beloved characters. I won't say who. He's one of my more beloved characters. Mm-hmm. And he gets killed off in it.
Oh.
And I'm like, I do not like this. I do not like this at all.
Yeah. It's very risky doing shit like that.
Yeah. Now, technically, when it comes to anything in Star Trek, in the books in Star Trek, none of it's canon. None of it's really canon. So you could argue that if they were to make a Legacy and bring that character back in Legacy, they'd just forget about the book because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The story is fantastic. I will say that. It really, really is. But then I'm not happy about the ending. And I'm like, no, it's like that. No, I don't like that. But overall, the books have been really, really good. There's one where we see the original Titan. And it is another Romulan story. Yeah. But it is told when Riker and Troy are on the Titan. And their son Thaddeus is still alive.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's another really good, really, really good episode. A really, really good book, I should say. And I remember listening to the book going, Jeez, I would absolutely love this to be a show.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought the writing was actually that good. So I thought it was fantastic. So, by all means, listen to the books or read the books. You'll learn more about the show and more about the characters. But La Serena is featured very heavily in the Rios book.
Yeah.
Every time I say Rios, I want to say SA first. SA Rios. I'm like,
I know that's the wrestling brain.
That's not his fucking name. What is his first name?
Cristobal Rios.
Cristobal Rios.
Yeah.
That's why I was being careful going Captain Rios.
Yeah.
And Rios, you find out more about him, about his backstory, about how he came to have the La Serena, and everything in between is really, really good. I would absolutely suggest you either listen or read that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the start of the book, the La Serena is not really the same as it is when we see it in Picard.
Yeah.
Because in Picard it has weapons and defensive systems, where it's just a cargo hauler at the start of the book.
Yeah, they do mention that like it basically kind of picks up kind of little scrap weapons along the way, doesn't it? From like old
I can't say anymore because I'll ruin it, but there's a character in it that helps him. I'll say no more. You have to go for it, Jonathan. Honestly, you have to go for it because it's really good.
Fair.
And there's a nice callback to Next Generation with this particular character. You'll like it. You will. I guarantee you like it.
I think I didn't mind where you're going with this, but we'll compare notes after the episode.
Yeah.
But on a side note, I'd love to run the numbers and see, like, because I know you said like it was a beloved character getting killed off. It's like they love doing that in kind of like in Apocrypha like that. It's like we had to kill off a character for shock value. I'd love to know who's top of the board and always gets killed off in these kind of things. I always feel like it's going to be Garrick for whatever fucking reason. Like Garrick always seems to be going to get bumped off as some sort of like, you know, like valiant death or something like that. Like it just seems natural for him, but I don't know why he's top of my list there. Is like if I was going to pick anybody to be bumped off for dramatic effect, it was going to be
Don't be killing off Garrick.
But
Jesus, he's one of the best characters. Don't be killing off Garrick.
Jerry, if I had my way, I'd be making up a rom-com for Garrick and Bashir. I'm not killing anyone off.
I think the ship has sailed on that. I think they're a little bit older.
Oh no, the ship is sailing all right. I'll tell you that much. Oh yeah. Ship. There we go.
Say nothing. Right, La Serena.
Yes, La Serena. So where on our leaderboard are you putting on the La Serena? So we have our. I'll give you your examples because it's been a while since we've done this. So we have our ensign kind of level, which is basically the stuff like the Botany Bay and the Oberst class, which is the big kind of like round fucking nonsense looking thing. Then we have lieutenant, which would be stuff like the Borg cube, the Romulan bird of prey. And then we have our commander class, which is our busiest one of the lot. So stuff like the Stargazer and the Cerritos and the Ambassador live there. Our captain class, that's our USS Titan, our Miranda, the Voyager, and the NX-01, amongst others. And then
whoa. The fucking Galaxy class better be there. Or better be higher.
The Galaxy class is our Admiral level.
Oh, so, that's alright. Okay.
So Admiral level in full is the Galaxy class, the Defiant, the D7, and the Klingon bird of prey. So that's all that lives in the Admiral class. So So where would you park the La Serena in this shipyard of yours?
La Serena is not captain or it's not a captain, and it's certainly not an admiral. But the thing is, I think it's a nice ship. We see it for 3 seasons. So it was popular enough that it was going to be brought back for all 3 seasons. I think it's a really cool design. I think the features of the ship are really cool. I'd love to have, well, maybe not holograms of myself, because that would be really shit.
To be fair, you have all the gimmicks for it. You could make that work. Like,
fuck that.
You could have Father Soul at the helm. Like, I think that would work. Father Soul would be the medic. No, in fairness, yeah.
See, this is the thing. You really need to read and or listen to the book, because you find out why all these characters are the way they are. It's so fucking funny. Yeah. Honestly, it's really, really funny. So yeah, I'd like to have a ship that has a holographic crew. Yes. Maybe not holograms of me, but a holographic crew. That'd be cool. Maybe all like swimsuit models or something like that. That would be great.
We can only hope, yeah.
Exactly. Or just like, actually, instead of just all being me, there could be all Rhea Ripley, and I'd be really happy with that.
Yeah, all aboard the USS Playboy. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
God damn. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus.
Be fair, Jerry. That is what the holosuite is for. So Well,
imagine having an entire ship that's a holosuite.
I mean, You make it sound appealing. You really, really do.
I do, fucking sure I
Yeah.
do. But yeah, listen, it's not captain level, but I think I'd put it in commander. I
Commander.
think
Okay.
it's a nice enough ship. It has, I say, the nice features, but it's good enough that it's been featured in 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard. So yeah, I'd go with commander.
Delightful. Yep. So Last Reina just sits there, nice and comfortable. Then in our commander bracket, which is obviously our busiest one, because it's right in the middle. That's how kind of numbers work, to be honest. So with that, then we're gonna fly through all the guest stars because they're all one and done, Jerry. There's no repeat offenders. Because normally we do with our guests amongst the stars, and we try and quiz Jerry on faces he's seen before. But unfortunately, New Trek has a terrible habit of just bringing in new people.
Ugh, who
What
wants new people?
bastards! How dare you!
Arseholes.
Give J.G. Hurster 15 rolls, please, just as punishment.
Yes.
So, I'm going to fly through these ones. So, our first up is an actor called Eric Alvarez, who played Bidran, who was one of the Romulan refugees who took umbrage with Picard. Not the senator. This is the other character that kind of had the kind of voice lines in it. Basically, one that kind of was about to go at Elnor again for the second go around. I think he's featured earlier in the episode as well as kind of the ones that kind of sussed out Picard to begin with. So yeah, not much of a role in this episode. In terms of his other work, you'll probably see him more so in guest roles in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The American Shameless, Lucifer, and Snowfall. While his most reoccurring role is as Sonny in the show I Love Dick. Not sure what that show's about, but I presume it's interesting in some respects. Although if you're, again, this is a gaming channel, so if you've ever played Need for Speed The Run, he's in that as several characters. So there you go, voice acting roles as well. Next up then is Ian Nunney, who played young Elnor in this episode. Again, you'd be shocked to hear, one and done in terms of Star Trek, because he's literally a child. He's like quite literally, I believe he's 16 now at the moment. And yeah, he's virtually only starting off his acting career. There's very little stuff in his repertoire at the moment, but the most recent stuff that he's been in would be the Matachine Family and Rebel that he's done after Star Trek. So he's still got a long way to go in that respect. Next up then is Evan Park, who played Tangam Andrev in this episode. He is this ex-senator that eventually would be beheaded by Elnor. So he's been in quite a lot of work, in fairness. He's actually Jamaican born. And again, very much a case of doing a lot of kind of guest roles along the way. So he's been in The Replacements. He's also been in Planet of the Apes. Movies otherwise, he'd be also in Night Stalker. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is another one of his works as well. Does a lot of movie roles, actually. I don't see much of TV in his repertoire. But again, it's that kind of thing where, like, you know, give us a shout for these kind of roles here. In terms of like TV shows, he's done stuff like Law and Order, the most recent one, like Organized Crime, and I think he's also been in Tell Me a Story, which was done recently. Oh, he's also Detective Singleton in The Blacklist as well, because he comes up a few times in there as well. So yeah, bit of a mixed bag there. Next up then is Amira Van, who played Zani, one of the warrior nuns, as I've kind of taken to calling them in this episode. She's very much the one that's been talking to Picard the whole time, so you know, very much in that kind of mold. Again, she's done a bit of kind of few acting roles along the way. Movies wise, she would have been a regular series in the show Underground, and she also would have been in the role in the cast of How to Get Away with Murder. She's also done a few independent movies as well, and I think on her recent work she's actually Dr. Gina Walker in the series DOC. She does a lot of voice acting works as well, actually. So she's actually Savika in the TV series Arcane, which is a League of Legends anime. So she's done a little bit of work there as well. So yeah, that's Amira Van. Next up then is Rebecca Wysocki, who played Ramda, who didn't get much of a feature in this episode. She was kind of a bit of a bridging plot in this one, but she is in a couple of other episodes in this season as the kind of Borg Romulan kind of the reclaimed Borg Romulan that is on kind of Huey's little kind of rehabilitation ship. So obviously more recent, or kind of a more kind of prominent in other episodes, but she does have quite a lot of work to her back catalogue. A lot of guest roles, it has to be said. Like, it is a full kind of, like, she's done one of everything in certain respects. But I suppose like her most like prominent role would be as Evelyn Powell in Devious Maids. And she's also Brenda Shetrick in The Mentalist. So that's where she'd be kind of a more regular roles.
Okay.
She's also Hetty Woodstone in the series Ghosts. That's one of her perhaps her biggest kind of reoccurring role. Beyond that, she shows up in a lot of like kind of like stuff like NCIS, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's in Dope Sick and stuff like that. So excuse me, she's in quite a lot of shows like that. So yeah, very much a kind of role actor in that sense. Next up then is, oh look, we're on to the incest couple now. Fantastic. We're starting off with Narissa, who is played by Peyton List, who is herself not only an actor but also a model. Can you tell? She actually would have started off her career back in 2000, which I believe, if I do my math, then she started when she was 20 or 14. 14, Jesus. So yeah, she started off when she was 14 on Sex and the City, would you believe? Without then moving on then to stuff like Without a Trace and both CSI Miami and New York in 2 different episodes. But then she was also in stuff like One Tree Hill, yet another CSI as well. And then her proper first roles then were stuff like Hawaii Five-0 and House of Lies. And then she does a lot of work in DC as well. She was in Gotham as Ivy Pepper, funnily enough. And then a few other kind of more kind of prominent roles beyond that then. So she would have been in the series. She was a lead role in the series Flash Forward, which was Brandon Braga work, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And I suppose her other kind of like, her most prominent work is as Lucy Montgomery in the show As the World Turns. So she's down as for 300 episodes in that, which is obviously it's so proper if you can guess.
Jesus, yeah.
But beyond that, then she's actually in the most recent Rookie as well, and 911 Lone Star. So she's still working to this day. And in terms of her kind of voice acting work, she's shown up in Blade Runner Black Lotus. So there you go.
Interesting.
And then finally we led to Harry Treadaway, who is of course Narek, who we were complimenting earlier on. As you said, Jerry, you've seen his work very recently as Mr. Scott, as in the season of Mr. Mercedes, but he is also Dr. Jekyll in Penny Dreadful, which is a good one as well. And he's also Baronet Llewellyn in The Crown. Features in 2 episodes of that as well, obviously using his English kind of roots in that respect. But yes, he shows up a lot of that. He has a twin brother, actually, funny enough, Luke Treadaway, who's also an actor. So why the fuck they didn't do that at some point during the show was a wasted opportunity. But there you go. I don't know if that would have made the interest worse or better. Not too sure at this stage. It's kind of hard to see score.
Yeah. Okay.
It would have been weird. But yeah, currently doing a lot of kind of like one and dones at the moment, especially in the US. But Mr. Mercedes is his most prominent kind of role at the moment. And obviously as Dr. Frankenstein in did I say Dr. Jekyll or Hyde?
Dr. Jekyll.
Yes, he's actually Dr. Frankenstein in Penny Dreadful. Apologies,
Okay.
not Dr. Hyde. That's my fault. But yeah, he's also shown up in a few other bits and pieces for ITV dramas before he went stateside. So there you go. That's all of our guest roles. Quite a few of them, has to be said. The joy of having more of a budget for people is just having more guest stars. But no Varen Armstrong, so what's the fucking point? So yes, this is our first Picard episode, so let's get on to the review. So, Jerry, how did you find the plot of Absolute Candor for you? Was it the kind of Romulan kind of power hour that you were hoping for?
Not really. You do learn a little bit more about it, especially the Quat Milan. So you learn more, as you call them, the warrior monks.
Warrior nuns.
Or the warrior nuns.
Yes.
So you learn a bit more about them, and then obviously you learn more about what happened to the Romulans after the supernova. Now, you again, I kind of reference the books here, is that when it comes to the Picard books, you learn a lot more about exactly what Picard does during the evacuation of Romulan space.
Yeah.
And exactly what they have to do, and then of course what happens during and after the synth attack. Basically, Picard, and it's obviously touched on in this episode, is that Picard promises them that no matter what, the Federation will help and will save them. And what we find out in the book is that there's a lot of border worlds. So the border with the Romulans are unwilling to allow Romulans to settle on their planets, because they're fucking Romulans,
Yeah.
and they just feel like, oh no, these evil fuckers, we're not. No, I don't. We don't want them here. So it's very much a thing where Picard is doing everything he can. He pretty much convinces the Romulans that he is trying to help, and
Mm.
then he's forced to pull out because Starfleet is pulling out because all their ships have been destroyed.
Yeah.
So you do get little bits and pieces of that in this. There are some good parts of this episode. Was it the Romulan power hour we were hoping for? No,
Mm.
but you definitely learn more. I think you learn a lot more about the Romulans in this episode than you might have done in a lot of Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, because you don't really learn much about them in
Yeah, it's
those
very face
episodes.
value is what I
You
find.
you
Yeah.
know them, they're there. You know they're sneaky bastards, and you just expect that in every Romulan episode you see. So it's good to see a different side of them in this. And in terms of plot scoring, it's not going to be a 9 or a 10 for me, but I'd probably go with 7.
7 was on my score sheet as well,
Yeah.
and I think again this is going to be very much reflected in my scoring as well. This episode is a real mixed bag of stuff that was really well done and stuff that was really bad,
Yeah.
and it was that kind of thing where, like, in a way, it's a perfect microcosm for Picard season 1, where stuff really worked fantastically well and didn't maximize it, and then stuff really didn't work and you still worked to try to work it in.
Yeah.
So you could say that's kind of like New Trek generally in its first kind of like iterations. Like Discovery was similar in that respect as well, where like there's some really kind of like hidden gems in there, and while they didn't really maximize it at a time, they kind of learned at a certain point, actually, this guy that's playing Spock is brilliant. Actually, this guy that's playing Pike is brilliant. Maybe we should give them their own show. Or, stuff like this kind of like Michael Burnham character isn't really clicking with people. Let's focus on Saru, who is connecting with people. Stuff like that, And I think over time we get that. But again, it's unfortunately that kind of luxury of, having the time and the space, if you pardon the pun, to be able to actually expand on these things. You really don't have that luxury. So whatever you do put on paper and whatever you do kind of cut to print has to work, or else the show doesn't really kind of last the kind of watching time in that sense. Yeah. So in a way, it's a good example of like season 1 Picard for us, because I think if we did season 3 Picard, we'd be just kind of like going, "This is fucking brilliant," because it is brilliant. Well, at least this is, in a way, like if we were doing like a Picard arc and we did like this and then an episode of season 2 and then season 3, you can see the progression of how they kind of like cop what's working, what's failed and what hasn't. But for now, anyway, I think 7 is a solid shout. Next up then is the setting. So again, it's going by our score sheet here. We're going with every category we can. So I thought the setting, the aesthetics of the episode was one of the strongest things about it. Yeah. Like, a lot of world building was done, especially where, like, again, this is, for all intents and purposes, a refugee camp. They are trying to make a life for each other, for themselves again. And what I loved about it was, and again, some people would have kind of misinterpreted this as lazy, but the flashback at the start of the episode where Picard is there and is kind of like Dr. kind of like Livingston, kind of like white suit. He's there kind of like man of the people, loving life and all this sort of stuff, and everything's kind of like it's not much, but it's new Romulus, it's doing what they can. And then come back then to what would have been 15, 20 years later, I think, thereabouts, and nothing has changed. If anything, it's got dirtier. There's nothing been built. It's just depravity, it's sadness, it's melancholy. And I thought that was really well done, because there would be an urge, it would have been a hesitation in that sense of like, okay, we need to build up a little bit. We need to have like a building here or a road here. It's like, no, it's actually more important that you keep the exact same set, because that's the whole point, is that they haven't been able to progress from this point. They are still like in a sort of mentality or whatever, or progression, or whatever which way you want to do the commentary, in that like they have not been able to move on from the point they came here. And I thought that was really well done. The Last Reina looks excellent by all accounts. Like, again, it's one of those ones where it's used the kind of green screening quite well, and it looks aesthetically different to a Starfleet ship, even with Discovery kind of lenses on. It looks unstable, it looks shaky, it looks cobbled together, and that's what I love about it. It has that kind of look to it. So I've actually scored it quite high. I've given this episode a 9 for setting. What do you think, Jerry?
I would agree with you there. I think I'd even go as far as go to a 10. When you've got Vashti, when you say nothing has changed, so basically when we first see it in the flashback, it's all fresh and new, and everything, everybody's happy,
Mm.
everybody's running around going, "Hey, this is great here," blah blah blah. The Federation has saved us, and the restaurant is new and clean and tidy and everywhere. And then it's the exact opposite when you get there. It's like nothing has changed, but everything has changed. It's a run down town now. It is they're very poor. There's poverty everywhere. They've also, the Romulans only sign. They really
in
did
English,
something.
no less, as well. Like, it's not
Yes,
even a
yeah,
Romulan. Yeah.
yeah. They really did good with this, I have to say.
Mm.
Then you've got La Serena, which is always fantastic. I think the interior of that is so different
Yeah.
to anything we've really seen in Star Trek. It was like, yeah, okay, I like that. Then you've even got the Borg Cube,
Mm.
the Borg reclamation thing, where you're going to different areas. So you've got the kind of medical bay, well, that's one way, and then they're the corridor they're sliding down. I find it funny because they're having a moment and they're sliding down, but they're surrounded by a Borg cube,
Yes.
and the walls are a Borg fucking cube, and it's really well done, I think. So I think for me, I think I'd go with a 10.
Okay.
I'd definitely go with a 10 on this.
Yeah. So we'll combine them and go with 9.5 then. So it's
Okay.
it's very much a strong suit of the episode then in that case. Next up then is the writing. Again, bit of a mixed bag for me.
Yeah.
It really is, go scene by scene, and you can tell, like, if you were to tell me that different writers were writing each scene, I'd believe you. Like, there's a real kind of struggling for kind of like, or rather, I'll rephrase, if there was a writer per actor, per character, I'd believe you, because there's stuff that, like, that character is saying and doing and is completely incongruous to the rest of the show. Like, again, Dorothy is a sore thumb in the whole show, unfortunately, and it's not her fault. It's not the actor's fault, I should say. It is literally the material she's working with. And I know she's meant to be kind of an oddball character, but so was Reginald Barclay, but he fits in so well because he's an oddball,
Yeah.
So I think, like, some scenes work really well and are excellent for the world building and stuff like this, and then some just fall flat on their face. Overall, I've been very complimentary to it in that sense. I think, like, certain scenes really do knock it out of the park. Whereas some you could kind of forgive and say, right, this is just dalliance that, like, given hindsight, they wouldn't put this in the episode again. So I've given a bit of forgiveness in that respect. So I'm kind of flickering between a 7 and 8 for this episode. What do you think, Jerry, on this one?
I don't even know if I'd go that high, to be honest with you. I might go to a 7. As you say, some of the things in this episode worked really well. You've got the Kawat Milan. You've got the fact that that flashback going into the confrontation with the Romulan senator, I thought very, very good. I never found really the actual Romulan side of things, the brother and sister stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I didn't even like what was the Data's daughter's name in it?
Soji and Daj. Yeah, so it was Soji in this one.
I wasn't really interested in Empty Man. I'd imagine if somebody came along and edited season 1 down to a movie, down to maybe a 2.5-hour movie, it would be much better.
Yeah.
I really, now saying that, I do enjoy watching it. I just don't enjoy all of it. But that's like every single season of Star Trek ever made.
Yeah.
There are certain seasons where you're like, I love that episode, and the next episode, oh fuck, skip that. It's really like any show that's binge worthy that you watch over and over again, like Star Trek, like Stargate. Like I'm doing a rewatch of Stargate now that it's finally back on Netflix.
Yeah.
What I found funny about that was the fact that even though it's been gone off Netflix for years, it's still remembered the last episode that I watched. I'm like, what the fuck, that was the last episode I watched.
Shows you nothing forgotten about.
So, but there's always going to be an episode you just want to skip by. But unfortunately, you can't do that with Picard, because it's not the episode you want to skip; it's scenes that you want to skip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have gone to a 6 to a 7 myself. So I'll go with the 7.
That would leave it a 7 then. Yeah. Like, the way I look at it is that it's like, in any given episode of Star Trek, especially season 1s of any show, like, they usually the kind of traditional episode structure of A, B, and C story, you know, and there's a few couple of scenes devoted to each one. Let's say sometimes the C stories are a bit of a stinker, but it's
Mm.
fine because it's just that episode that's affected. The problem is that the writing is done over the season, so it's the C story for the entire season. That's what's really kicking their arse in the current writing structure, and in a way, that's actually what makes Strange New Worlds work because it's an episodic structure. They'll do follow-ups and sequels, absolutely, but that's nothing wrong with that. That is actually what Star Trek does. You know, they have sequel episodes. There's nothing wrong with that. But having a true line, say like in Discovery, for example, you really want to hope that this actually works the way through. Like I'm thinking, like if Voyager had the same kind of writing structure, if Voyager was a short-run series, let's say, who's the C story? And I guarantee the C story is probably going to be the Doctor or Neelix, and one will work, the other won't, and
Hmm.
that's where we're going with this at the moment. So yeah, that's a fair assessment. Uh, so acting is next on our list here, Jerry, and this is your wheelhouse. Who caught your eye in this episode?
Um, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't even really the main cast. It was the senator, the Romulan senator from Vashti. I thought uh, his scene that where he confronts Picard and um the kind of speech that he has to Picard about everything that's happened to them. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah,
So
really
the
well done.
acting for me, Patrick Stewart's Patrick Stewart. He never pulls out a bad performance. So fantastic in this. The actor who plays Elnor tries really hard, but it's just the writing for him is shite.
Yeah,
The dialogue is shite. So it's not great. Anything to do with Rios, absolutely love it. Even I do actually like, you were talking about performances and stuff like that. The literal 10 seconds we see of Seven of Nine. Card, you owe me a ship. Oh fuck. And, she's down.
yeah,
Even that was good. But there are, elements of this, like even like the Romulan brother and sister, they are good actors and they do act their asses off in this, but again, it's not a very enjoyable
yeah.
scene. It's not a very enjoyable storyline in the show. Um, so yeah, definitely the Romulan senator really brings it back up.
Mm.
Um, Again, I'd probably go with seven.
Yeah, that's a great example of of where we're going. I went with seven as well on that one, by the way. That was a great example of what I felt like this episode is missing, is that like you having a guest role like that kind of that senator there now talking. Like I wanted to know everything about that guy only just out of one scene, and that is the actor's accomplishment because he has drawn the camera to him, and again, his dance partner is fucking Patrick Stewart, and he's the executive
Yeah,
producer. So if you're wrestling the camera away from him, you're doing something good. But again, it's the same thing as like when you give him a role that you can get your teeth sunk into. That always fucking helps.
mm,
Um, but again, that's the sort of stuff where like that they, in old kind of episode structure, there would have been an episode all about that ex-senator. Like he is now the leader of this refugee camp. That would have been the same way how you springboard a character like oh Jesus, she's gone. Roland would have been the person I was thinking
yeah.
of, or like an old VTech from or not VTech, sorry, uh, oh, Bajoran priest, not Kai, below Kai. I can't remember
Oh,
his name.
oh Jesus. Kai Wynn, Kai Opaka. Oh Jesus Christ! Now,
VTech is the character's name I was thinking of, but yeah, that's what I was thinking of. There's someone who like is has this new life out of necessity as opposed to anything else. So like you can clearly he went into senator mode immediately and held council. That's
yeah,
the individual you want to see there, and immediately you want to go. That's the most interesting character of this episode so far. You immediately want to see more of him.
yeah,
There would have been an episode about him in the nose if Picard was a syndicated series. This is his episode that he would get. But
hundred
again,
percent.
now he's compressed to one scene where he fucking acts bollocks off. And let me say, he fucking did, 100%.
Yeah,
Next up is action, and again, there was action in this episode. To be
yeah,
fair, we had a ship battle, we had decapitations, we had violence, we had sword fighting.
yeah.
Not sure decapitations fit in the Star Trek world. I mean, we somehow got it. We were able to get through the whole Klingon battle with like double axe handles and sword and batlets. But, that's,
True, true. I,
yeah,
I, I I do agree with you there. It's a thing where, um, we've gotten through so many battles. We've never seen a decapitation before. Now, saying that, is this the only decapitation in Star Trek Picard? No,
No.
because we get a real one, a proper one in season 3, and
Yes.
that was fantastic. How you introduce a legendary Klingon warrior like Worf is to cut off someone's fucking head. I'm like,
Yep.
yes, absolutely, I agree with you there 100%. This one, it was weird. It
Yeah.
was weird, but it was thing is it's a bit of action. One thing I will say about the newer Trek is that they obviously have a huge budget for visual
Yeah.
effects. So when you look at everything from Picard seasons 1, 2, and 3, you're looking at even Discovery to Strange New Worlds, even to Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
The graphics, the ships, the battles, stuff like that are tremendous. They're absolutely fantastic, and better than anything Next Generation could have ever put out. I would even hold it up to, like, I'd hold up Deep Space Nine, especially like the big battles, like Way of the Warrior, Dias Cast,
Yeah.
even Sacrifice of Angels, stuff like that. Those were fantastic fleet battles and stuff and things, but Jesus, they can't hold a candle to the visual effects that you see in season 3, and even this very, very short battle of a Romulan bird of prey, which we've not seen
Yeah.
since the original series. And we're not even going to talk about the ones from Enterprise because they were different. The ones from the original series it's just an updated version of that. From the sounds to the look of the weapons to the flying around to how the ship was ultimately defeated.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So I'd go more for that action than I would someone's head getting chopped off. And if we're gonna go by that, I'd go an 8.
Okay, then I'll go with 8 on that one then, because as I said, like I think, like saying the technology has helped a good bit there. It's playing to its strengths a little bit. So like naturally, like something like a kind of space skirmish is easier to do than it would have been with like old models back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're working with smaller ships that are going to be naturally a little bit more aerodynamic is the wrong word to use, but nimble, shall we say, is a bit better appropriation to it. So yeah, I think that's Doug I was saying. I think it's a good one. And much of that point, effects is our next category, and again, I think you kind of nailed it there. It played to its strengths a little bit in terms of like this is what we're good at now in terms of like putting on like a visual kind of space battle, and beyond that, I think everything was kind of relatively standard affair, in terms of visual effects and kind of physical effects. I think everything else was kind of like okay, so nothing really kind of caught my eye outside of the space battle really on that one. So I don't know how we kind of score that one if it's only a little bit of a bump up. So I have it down as a 6 or 7 personally.
I'd go with a 7 myself. The space battle really does help.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to take into account the change between Vashti and the flashback and Vashti now, and I do think they did it really well. It was just a matter of adding a lot of dust, adding a few rusted things, but it made it look really, really good.
Yeah,
it really did. I was quite impressed with that. It just makes things look better.
Yeah.
So that, and coupled in, especially with the space stuff, because all Picard space stuff is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Seasons 1, 2, and 3, there is no, absolutely brilliant. Like even when we're looking at the Confederation from season 2, and their ships are ultimately the same type. So you've got like Nova classes and stuff like that in season 2, but the weaponry is different, and it's red, so it makes it clearly red is evil.
Yes.
So it makes it look better. So yeah, I think anything to do with space battles and stuff like that in Picard has just been fantastic. So yeah, I'd go.
Yeah, I think they kind of like we don't really have that watershed in terms of it's in the final episode of this series, which is the copy and paste fleet, which is like that was the nadir of when it comes to like, okay, you actually do need to, if you're gonna do something like this, you need to actually put effort into it, because don't want to do is to underestimate the ability of Trekkies to pause the video and to pick out every single one of those ships and tell you what names they are, who's the captain on them, what their favorite food is. They will find out. And, when there's a half-assed job done, Sometimes, especially in the older runs, it's because they physically couldn't do it. Like they had a 20-foot like model to like float around a room. There's only so much that they're going to be able to do.
Yeah,
You don't really have that excuse now when you have full CGI.
exactly.
So a full ass effort is required for even the most basic interactions.
Yeah, like I remember somebody put up somebody just on their computer put up an edited version of that fleet flying, and it was just it was a normal Starfleet fleet. It had Galaxy classes, it had Miranda classes, Excelsiors, it has Sovereign classes in it, and then a couple of those God, what are they called? The Zheng He, I don't know what
they're called the Inquiry class.
The Inquiry class. So it had a few of them in it as well. So you might as well put them in.
Yes.
And it just looked better.
Yeah.
And that was done by somebody,
one hobbyist.
One person doing it at home on their computer, and it was done better than probably a couple of million budget for that episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, lads, get your finger out of your ass. Now, in fairness, let's be honest. The very first episode of season 2, we have a fleet that we're like, I know that ship. I know. There's the Kira class. There's a Galaxy class. That's actually not a Galaxy class. That's a Ross class.
Yeah.
There's a fucking Sovereign class. There's the same type of ship that's the Titan. This is this new ship that's the Stargazer. I'm like, this looks good. This is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
And they gave it to us again,
which was really appreciated. Yes.
They gave it to us again in season 3 with some newer, updated ships. I'm like, that's all we wanted.
Yeah,
that's all we wanted.
But it wasn't even that. It was like it was always the feedback of where like, and again, I hate dunking on Discovery. I really, really do. I feel like I'm one of those pricks that like hates one show in particular. But Discovery is very guilty of what I call pew pew pew, where it's just like two ships and just like lasers fucking flying everywhere, and it's like one of those things where like there's like sleights of hands going on, so you don't see the puppet strings. So like let's just put loads of little flashing lights over the screen, so you don't realize these ships are being like pushed along by fucking Captain Stingray. The kind of way. Like like what they did learn especially in Picard season 3. There's one episode in particular, you might remember it, where they get caught in that nebula and they realize the nebula's giving birth. And it's that little when they're playing cat and mouse with the Shrike with the Shrike. With the Shrike, that's what it was, yeah. And they're doing this thing where like they have like a kind of game of portals where like the Enterprise or the Titan is coming out from one end to the other, and they're moving so slowly. And it's just like it's like, wait, these are actually how these ships would move in space. They're not gonna go fucking flying around the place. But like that was very natural to the Next Generation of what an action scene like that would be. Episodes.
Well, you see, you say that, right? And that's exactly how these ships would move. Yeah, and I get what you're saying. But when we first see the Titan, and I'm not even talking about the show itself. I'm talking about we're showing the Titan. This is going to be the new ship for Star Trek Picard season 3, and they give us the lowdown on it, and it has apparently the largest, most powerful impulse engines of any ship in the fleet. Oh, so why are they moving so slow?
That's a good point. That's
why they're moving so slow. Yeah. Because what I find fucking fascinating about it, they're so slow going through that portal, but when they're flying past the fleet that's all shooting at them, they can fucking move then, can't they?
Yeah. But maybe it's that kind of thing where like it's like a Starfleet equivalent of an automatic car. It has the creep. So like when you just like if you need to brake on it, it will just kind of move by itself. So they just left it in neutral, let it coast through the port. Which is like possible.
You even only have to look at a scene that was maybe the next episode.
Yeah.
And they're flying out of the nebula. They're flying out of they opened the nacelles, they've gotten the power to the nacelles, they're like, right, punch it, let's get the hell out of here. Shit, there's the strike. Right. There's an asteroid. Get that asteroid and fling it over there.
Throw the rock at it.
The speed that they're going and they're flinging the fucking asteroid. I'm like, why couldn't they travel that fast in the previous episode? What the fuck is going on here?
But again, so weird. The last episode and the Galaxy, the Enterprise D like slaloming through the port cube, I found hilarious. Is like I literally go like that is the fastest I've ever seen that ship move ever.
I've had so many arguments with people over this particular scene, and it's like the ship can't move that way. I was like, it's a fictional fucking ship in a fictional galaxy. Shut the fuck up and enjoy it. I'm like, just why do you need to argue about these things? It's like Data his moment here. His gut, the first time he's feeling his gut. Let him fly the fucking ship and let him pretend it's the Millennium Falcon going through the Death Star. I really don't fucking care.
Yeah.
It was a really good scene. I really enjoyed it. See, this is the thing, is like, I just don't get fans of Star Trek and Star Wars and why they have to be such bitches all of the time. I'll never forget when the last Star Wars movie came out, Rise of Skywalker, and how they were giving out, right? So loads of Star Wars fans online, and I couldn't hold my tongue. Loads of Star Wars fans giving out online because in one of the scenes in the trailer, oh, look at this, the First Order, this big bad enemy throughout the galaxy, and they can't even afford hover vehicles on this planet. They have to use one with tracks. And I'm like, they have to use one with tracks. So, like, so what were the walkers using?
Yeah.
What were they using, their legs, or were they hovering? Are you going to say anything about George Lucas's Empire Strikes Back? Go on, say something. Go on. Be a little bitch. Go on. Oh, yeah, exactly. So it's like when people give out about that scene,
yeah,
I'm like, it's Star Trek. It's fun. It's not supposed to be serious. Just watch it and just get it. Just enjoy it, because that's what I did. Because you know why I enjoyed it? Because we got the fucking Enterprise D back.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why. So I'm like, stop being fucking little moany bitches and just watch it and just enjoy. Yeah. Because I think for me, but I don't know if we'll watch it or not, but I think for me, one of the single greatest scenes in all of Star Trek is when we finally get the Enterprise D back.
Oh, yeah.
And when they all sit down
and
Picard says stations, and that the music just crescendos at that point, and it just boom, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time watching it on the big screen here, and I watched that scene, 20 times in a row.
It's so good.
I couldn't stop watching it because it was so good. So, but then people will bitch and moan about that scene as well. I'm like, you're clearly not a fan. You're clearly just a critic. That's all you are. Yeah. That's all you want to be. Just enjoy it.
Well, to be fair, the Enterprise D surviving makes total sense because they had to reclaim the saucer from Viridian 3 to begin with, because it was like it was contamination. Whereas like, I don't know if you've seen the Dominion War, a lot of Galaxy class ships got fucked up there. I'm sure one of them had a functional star drive.
There's at least 3 scenes.
Yeah.
Being the Battle of Chintaka, the very first Battle of Chintaka, where a Galaxy class gets a hole punched through the bridge.
Yes.
From the underneath of the saucer section. But relatively, the star drive is actually okay.
It's
so
intact,
you could say to yourself, that could be the Syracuse.
Yeah.
That could be the Syracuse. You know, so it's like, just why people have to bitch and moan so much about stuff like that. I can understand being critical of a show, and if the show itself is not good, like Starfleet Academy. I didn't think Starfleet Academy was good. I thought elements of Starfleet Academy were good. But I'm not going to stand here and bitch and moan because a Klingon was wearing a skirt, or because the Klingon is gay.
That was the funniest row about Starfleet Academy I ever had. It's literally the first episode of The Next Generation is Picard and Riker wearing skirts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like...
Yeah, but not only that, right? This is what I find funny. Oh, Star Trek has gone too woke. Who are the first race in all of Star Trek to accept trans ideology? The Klingons.
Yeah.
Because Kor, the Dahar master, meets Jadzia. Oh, Curzon, my beloved old friend. I'm not Curzon anymore, I'm Jadzia. Oh, Jadzia, my beloved old friend. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Didn't care. He didn't care. People just annoy me.
Yeah.
I really want to wear a t-shirt saying people are idiots, because they are. That's what they are.
I know this is Rich coming from 2 people in a podcast, but maybe there's too many opinions online.
Well, that's just it. Even my opinion doesn't really matter, about this.
This is an opportunity for you to get it out, Jerry, because it's better you and me having this in a safe space on a podcast rather than you saying it on stage to somebody. You know,
that's amazing. That's 2 days in a row I'm having a rant. Yes, they had a rant. Yes, they had a rant on the Low Blows. On the Low Blows podcast about AI in wrestling, and I had a massive rant about AI artwork being used for posters. So here I am giving out about people who are giving out. So I'm a grumpy old fuck as well. I get it, so it's fine.
Embrace it, Jerry. It's part of you. It's part of what you are now.
Yeah, listen, I'm getting the grey hairs now.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, I've got a lot of gray. You can't see it, but I've a lot of grey hairs here. A lot of grey hairs here. Not a single one in my head. Like nothing here yet. And I'm like, hurry the fuck up.
I couldn't possibly comment, Jerry. I'll be honest with you. It's not an issue I'm going to have anytime soon, to be perfectly honest with you. So, you know.
Swiftly moving on.
Yeah, shiny head people. So, let's move on into the score. This is one of your favorite categories as well. I really like the music of this episode, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts on it.
Right, I'm gonna no pulling punches here. It's a 10 out of 10 for score on this episode.
Really?
If you were to judge it by one scene alone, it would be the scene where the two, the Romulan and the I can't never remember their names. The Romulan and the android are sliding down the Borg corridor.
Yeah.
Just that scene alone, with the music was fantastic. But when you go to Vashti flashback and then Vashti now, it's the same type of music, but it changes because things have changed.
Yes.
When you've got anything in La Serena, the music is just very subtle in the background, but it's nice. When you've got Picard meeting the Quat Milan again after so, it's a nice, happy theme because, like, listen, bringing them back together. And then the battle scene as well, fantastic music there. But for me, it's all down to that sliding scene on the Borg cube because the music is just fantastic. And I have to say, this is the thing I will say about New Trek. Whatever you say about Alex Kurtzman, the people they're choosing to do the music are absolute masters at what they do.
Yeah.
Because there is not all 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard, all 5 seasons of Discovery, all the 3 seasons of Strange New Worlds going into season 4 and then season 5, and even the music in Starfleet Academy was great. And I tell you what was good, the music was great in Lower Decks.
And Prodigy, actually. Prodigy had some fantastic scores as well. Yeah.
So there is, say what you want about these shows and how you don't like them, but you cannot give out about the music because the music is literally fantastic.
Yeah, like you said before, like we were watching lyric about the 3rd season of Picard, and literally the score itself, all it did was, like, yes, it was still very, very good music regardless, but what season 3 did was throw in more elements of, like, music that you've heard before. So little kind of chord progressions. Here's like Worf's theme. Here's kind of Dave's kind of stuff. Yeah. And it's like literally that is some of the stuff that just dude, if you did doing that a little bit more, makes it more recognizable.
Oh yeah.
Like at that stage, even without having to do that, like the fact that it was still so recognizable. Like I'm even thinking some of the music, the melancholic music from season 2, that's very centric on Picard. Like, there's no Picard theme in that respect, but what there is something very spoke for the scene, and that's what the score is meant to be. It's meant to put you back into that kind of mindset of watching that scene again, or being in that position.
I can pinpoint an exact point where the music was just out of this world in season 2. It might not have been the best season, and even people's opinions of it will differ as the years go by. But the final episode, the music in the final episode was so fucking good because it hits you. It just hits you right here. And the scene I'm speaking about specifically is when Q is ready to send them back.
Yes.
And the music from that scene leading up to when Picard says, "But not alone." Wasn't that the point of all of this? And he hugs Q and you're like, boom. And it just, so fucking good. Like, to the point where I actually listen to the score. If I'm walking the dogs, I will listen to the score of especially of Star Trek Picard season 3.
Yeah,
because it's that good.
It is that good.
It really is that good.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, next up then is the scene, and again, oh boy, mixed bag. Some really good scenes and some really bad scenes. It is a summary of season 1, unfortunately.
Yes.
And it really is a case where, like, if you could just carve out the sea stories of this season, my God, season 1 Picard would have been so much better. Like, take out Durrati, take out the incestuous Romulans, cut a little bit of Soji and Daj as well, and really hone in on the Picard, Romulan, Data angle, and a bit of Borg for good measure, and you really have a phenomenal season there. It's just, it's that kind of thing where, like, I get that they had to try and bring in new characters, and you had to bed them in really quickly, and you had to kind of like establish what's going on very, very in record time. But they have to be good from the start. You can't be a work in progress as you're writing them, because then when you do get to a stage especially in the middle of the season, which is a bit of a hump generally speaking, like you have to advance plots here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
If these characters are not set in stone and they don't look good and they don't feel right, then it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
And especially those two scenes, like the Ratty at the start is like literally right. You're done. That's your one out of the season. Fuck off out of this episode. Basically, it's like, yeah, you're right, gone, done. Like got that fucking box ticked. And then same with the incestuous Romulans. You're just going like, right, I am actively waiting for your scene to end so we can get back to the good shit. And that's not the way to watch an episode either. It really isn't.
It's just not good. I just didn't like the incestuous Romulan stuff. Did I think the two Romulan characters were good? Yes. And especially when we get to that last episode.
Yeah.
Either the second last or last episode where she fights Seven. Fuck me now, that is good fucking writing.
But again,
that is what we wanted.
Incest stuff halfway through the season. They just pack it in because they realize it's not working. Why
exactly.
Did you do that
but I'm like, just take it out altogether.
Yeah.
Now, if we're judging this episode by a single scene, normally when we're judging scenes, we're talking about a main character acting their absolute ass off. Let's take In the Pale Moonlight.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, you could take every scene in that as the main scene, as the best scene in it. But for me, I think the best scene in this has to be the confrontation with the Romulan senator.
100%.
And it's more about the senator than it is about Picard, about Patrick Stewart, because Patrick Stewart's always good. He doesn't hand in a bad performance, but he did fuck all in this scene.
Yep.
He didn't need to because he was just listening.
Yeah.
So to me, this was fantastic. And like what you said there, God, why didn't we get a full episode of this senator? Or something centralizing around the people of Ashley and the senator.
Yeah.
Because it would have been so much better. I will, no matter what, I rewatch. What I do is my comfort thing is, and I think it's an ADHD thing that I have, is that I like rewatching things over and over again because it's like a comfort blanket.
Yes.
You'll want to watch the things that you love the most and you really enjoy, and that's why I always go back to Star Trek. So once I'm finished off newer stuff, I go straight back to the Next Generation. I'm not somebody who watches the original series. I'll start with Next Generation, go to Deep Space Nine, go to Voyager, go to Enterprise. I won't be going, right, I tell you now, I won't be going to Discovery. That's just something I won't be doing. I will do Picard, I will do Strange New Worlds, I will do Lower Decks.
Lower Decks, yeah.
I probably won't do Starfleet Academy, but I'll do the rest of them. But I'll rewatch. And that's these are the things that you're looking for. You're looking for like watchability.
Yeah.
And this scene, if you instead of giving me this scene, if you given this scene across an entire episode, oh sweet Jesus,
yeah,
we'd have been scored. This would have been scored in 8s and 9s.
Yeah, but
how good it would have been.
This is my point in the sense where like even that scene ends with Elnor decapitating that guy.
Yeah,
that illustrates the whole fucking problem. Was that like again, it's trying to get across the point where like this is actually the diplomacy is failing at this point. Like diplomacy has failed. The conversation has not worked. People just want bloodlust. There's a blood revenge here, but cutting the guy's head off and just ending the conversation wasn't the answer either. So there's something in between,
Exactly.
For scenes wise, I had to take a few points off this category for me, so it's a 7 in my scoreboard. But I'd like to hear what yours is.
I would go with a 7 because even though the one scene I'm talking about, which is the Romulan senator scene, even though it was so good, it cannot save the episode in terms of the other scenes. So I'd go with a 7 as well. And
okay.
I'll be honest, I think we're being generous.
I think we are, yeah. The character category is an interesting one now for me as well, because it's hard to kind of quantify character progression for Picard when like he is meant to be at the kind of end of his journey in this season. But what is very fascinating is his kind of repentance along the way. The biggest thing about him in this episode is that he is essentially going back to the scene of the crime in his head, because he feels like he's let down the Romulan people, and to a certain degree he has, but it's not his fault. The Federation has let the Romulans down, but he is the closest to a Federation kind of face that the Romulans have. So he's coming to reckon with the fact that like he is going to be the lightning rod for a lot of hate and a lot of like bile, and it kind of reminds me in a sense where like we kind of have people like that in our minds as well, where like we have to put a face on something to kind of to hate in a sense where like you hate a system, you hate like something that like this system was created, so you have to have someone to kind of symbolize that. So while the Romulans will kind of like focus on Picard being this kind of like mascot for the Federation, it's similar to us, like looking at a billionaire and going, "You're part of the fucking problem." Like it is the system that has made these billionaires is the problem, but this guy has a really fucking punchable face. Kind of way. Like it's that sort of same kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Where like it's like if I ever see this guy, I'm kicking the fucking shins off him because he deserves it. But like, is he is he the problem? Probably not. It's what's caused people like him to appear is the issue. So it's that sort of like kind of like more kind of simplistic way of looking at it, and in a way, I think Picard kind of plays it very, very well. Like the comparison between him, as I said, having this kind of grandfather energy with Elnor at the start of the episode, and then coming back to the Romulans again, and just the energy is so different. Like he, and it's rightfully different because he let them down. There's no if you really want to be a final point on it, like he's the true one of the episode. We mentioned the Senator before. The Warrior Nuns again. I thought they were good characters. I wanted to see more of them. They were very interesting. You really got the sense that the Romulans have a lot of sects. They have a lot of religious orders and stuff like that. A thread that they never pull on again, and it's so annoying. They had the one about the kind of anti kind of like android kind of like cult, and that's kind of like the Tal Shiar but on steroids. But like, there's so much there you've left on the ground. Like, what like every like race does have a religious aspect to it. We know the Klingons once to death. The Ferengi one is played for laughs because it's basically just capitalism as a religion. But we know nothing about the Romulans. Even the Borg ended up having a kind of religious focal point in the Queen.
Yeah.
Like it's fascinating. It's the one that you don't really know about.
I will say this: the fact that you're pissed off at the fact that you got this change in the Romulans and then it was never visited again.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you again, read the books.
The books,
because there's more in it.
More on it,
the Riker Troy book with them on board the Titan really deep dives into it's not the Quat Milan, it's the other ones. The Tal Shiar, Jatvash. It really goes into it. Yeah, so and it's good. It's really, really good. I have to say the writing in the books has been fantastic. So I would highly recommend you to read those or listen to them, whichever way you want to do it.
Indeed.
In terms of character, though, you can't just judge this episode by just the one senator thing. But I think if we're going to overall thing, I think I'm probably going to be generous again and go with 7.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's that kind of thing where like for every Picard and Senator there was incestuous Romulans and Jurati, and that's. And I put Elnor in a negative category as well. Like, Elnor ruins a perfectly good Star Trek scene, and that perfectly embodies my issues with the kind of writing structure. Is like, it is literally Poochie syndrome, where like you just inserted him into this to try and get you to like him. It's like fuck off, fucking Scrappy Doo. I'm not interested in you. Go away.
Yeah, it's almost like putting John Cena at WrestleMania.
I wouldn't know. I didn't see him. Last up then is the consequences of the episode. So, what did we learn from this episode? What is the takeaways from this?
Okay, so we learned a little bit more about what happened with the Romulans, but in terms of consequences, there's fuck all, because they don't revisit it after this episode. It's pretty much done after this. For me, the only real consequences that you see from this episode are the last 10 seconds is that we get 7 of 9.
Yeah.
So we're now going into the 7 of 9 arc. It is a minor thing when it comes to the overall arc of the series, but it's 7 of fucking 9. Yeah. We're getting Jerry Ryan back, and it's just really cool to have her back in Star Trek. And I just can't get over the fact that like Jerry Ryan is in her mid-50s, and I'm like, no, that can't be right. She's not in her 50s. What are you talking about? And I realized, oh my god, I really am that old.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ.
Time does not wait for anyone, my friends.
I am that old. Fucking hell. Yeah. But for me, that's the only real consequence of this particular episode. There's not much else. Okay, we get Elnor in it now. Okay, great. We find out a little bit more about the Romulans and what happened to them, but one of them got his head cut off, and then we never go back again. So there's little to no consequences, unfortunately, of this episode, apart from the fact that we have two new characters in the
Yeah.
show. Um, again, I'm being generous when I say this. I'm going to go with 7.
Yeah, I had 5 on my list, to be honest with you.
Oh well,
Yeah.
okay. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll say let go with 6.
Yeah, we go 6. Yeah.
Go with 6. Yeah, we'll meet in the middle. Go with 6.
Yeah,
Jesus,
because it was purely the kind of thing where like it's like the Elnor character ultimately doesn't go anywhere either because like he's presumed dead for the majority of season 2, and I think only towards the end you go, oh, he's here, oh, he's fine the whole time. That's great. Anyway, moving on to season 3 where he doesn't fucking exist. It's that sort of thing where like
you just reminded me of the. You reminded me of a scene from Top Gear, when they were saying something about a car. Oh, really? Moving on. And they just move on.
It's like, oh no, the rental pass has been suspended for a year. Oh no. Anyway,
that's
very much that
it.
energy. Very much that energy. Oh god, it's sad because it's fucking true, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
Yes,
so
yeah.
I can't imagine the scoring in this was very good.
No, it was not, Jerry. It doesn't breach the top 10. Doesn't breach the top 20. It is in the top 30. It is officially 29th in our list.
Jesus Christ.
So it does get a final score of 75.5 out of the maximum 100. So it is 3/4 an episode of Star Trek, if we can be that flippant about it. So it is slightly better than Little Green Men of Deep Space Nine, and is slightly worse than Tapestry from The Next Generation, and Space Seed from the original series. So
right.
We have all the kind of like full rundown of the scorings coming up on screen here. But as a refresher for those in the room, we have a joint 8th place of 87 out of 100 for the Next Generation double of the Wounded and the Defector, 87, as I said, and all those who wander from Strange New Worlds. They all share 8th to 10th place respectively. Amok Time then is a step ahead of them as well in 7th, followed then by Duet, which is first of our 90 plus crew, who's currently sitting in 6th. Best of Both Worlds, both parts, is 90.5 in our scoring and is currently 5th place on our list. And then sharing the bronze medal at the moment is In the Pale Moonlight of Deep Space Nine and The Quality of Mercy from Strange New Worlds, both on 91. Yesterday's Enterprise is a highest ranked Next Generation episode with 95.5, and then topping the list, and perhaps never to be beaten again, is The Way of the Warrior 2-parter from Deep Space Nine with a 98, near maximum 98 out of 100. Will we ever get to a 99 in my lifetime? Maybe not, but we'll have to wait and see.
Not a hope.
Yeah, exactly. It's looking good. But yeah, that is another step in our Romulan arc, Jerry. And on our next adventure, again, we've been very kind of like so we box smart when it comes to the episodes we're doing, because obviously the Romulans were very Next Generation and Deep Space Nine heavy, so we couldn't just kind of fill our boots with Next Generation when other series are being neglected. So we've done Enterprise, we've done Picard, so now we're moving on to Voyager for our Romulan episode, and it's the one of only 2 Romulan episodes I think in Voyager.
Yeah.
And this was a bit interesting because this is the episode Message in a Bottle, which ultimately is more so about the holographic Doctor and his spiritual successor, I suppose, if you can call him that. It's more to do with a high concept Starfleet ship in the Prometheus and then how the Romulans basically nick it. It's a fun episode, it has to be said, but will it give us the kind of Romulan buzz we've been looking for? We'll have to wait and see. But we're not looking through a Romulan lens here. That's not what we're here for. What we're here for is to watch a fun episode of Star Trek. So we'll see if that works in that regard.
It's definitely going to be that. It's definitely going to. It's one of my favorite Voyager episodes because Robert Picardo is just fantastic in it. And
when he gets his comedy chops, he really does have a great time.
Oh God, yeah. When he stops being the real serious Doctor and it becomes more of a comedy act, and it's just amazing. Yes. Something that I was very lucky enough to meet Rob Picardo and to interview him, and it's something that I had a chat with him backstage. I was like, did you? I had 1,000,001 questions for him, but I never got to ask them all. So I did ask him backstage. I said, was that episode fun to film? And he's like, when you're doing Star Trek, anything that's funny is better to do
Oh,
because
100%, yeah.
there's nothing serious about it. And he said it was really fun to do. I was like, okay,
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what we're reviewing next on the show. So look forward to that when it drops in a couple of weeks' time. As for us, Jerry, we actually have a bit of news to share in that regard. You've been a busy boy, which we'll get to very, very shortly. But coming soon to the Monday Madness channel, I say because we still have to work out the scheduling. But myself and Jerry are going to do a playthrough on the show and on the channel, I should say. I want to tentatively say it's a kind of a new series because I think we might have a bit of a scope to do other sci-fi games as well. You know, I'm not saying, just saying if there's an opportunity for you to play Knights of the Old Republic on the channel, I don't think you'll say no to it. If I give you an opportunity to say play Next Generation, a new Unity, the PC game way back when on the channel, I don't think you'll say no to it.
yeah, dirty
Even if
bitch.
even if I give you a game that is spiritual successor to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I don't think you'll say no to it either. So, coming soon to the channel is myself and Jerry kicking off a new set of space playthroughs. Tentatively calling us the Red Shirts, but that's only just a branding thing. So don't worry, we're not actually going to have to be Red Shirts in that one, because we all know how that goes. But starting us off on that adventure, on that journey, will be a playthrough of Mass Effect, which has got a few name drops in this episode, which is kind of appropriate considering the fucking blatant plagiarism at play. But that is our next adventure outside of this series, is the kick-off Mass Effect. And the beautiful thing about Mass Effect, Jerry, because you don't have any point of reference for this, you get to play Commander Shepard whichever way you want. Like, you get to choose. Like, this is a pure RPG thing. You decide what he looks like, you decide his backstory, you decide what gender he is. Like, you can be male or female, dealer's choice, and you can ride whoever you want.
Interesting.
Indeed. I knew that would
Very,
pique your
very
interest.
interesting. Okay, yeah. I'd already said yes, but it's a definite yes.
Yeah, he's hooked now. I'm after getting him now with the with fucking aliens. That's what got him in there. That's what.
Yeah, it was definitely the alien part. Yeah, definitely the alien.
100%. Yeah. Well, I look forward to that inevitable point where he just picks a human relationship instead, because that would be the greatest irony of them all. But
no, I want my character to try different holes.
He's a golfer, is he?
Well, he'd be using his club anyway. Oh dear.
No, there's something about bunkers there I'm not going to go with. Anyway, so yeah, that's what to look forward to. Our playthrough of Mass Effect coming soon to Monday Madness. And coming soon to a fucking convention near you is Mr. Jerry Soul, who is still on a bit of a high from Comic-Con, I think it's fair to say, where you got the fangirl all over Kate Mulgrew, which was an adorable sight to see.
Jesus. Like, whenever we do a convention, whether it be Dublin or Cork or Horicon or whatever we do, because we're planned, there's more planned, so watch this space, which is really good to be able to say. There's always, like, the day after or a couple of days after, you get this come down, and it is almost like coming off drugs, to the point where you're so depressed, and you're like, That's not the case when it comes to this particular convention, because I think we're maybe a month or just nearly a month since it happened.
Yeah.
And I am still depressed. Because for me anyway, the convention themselves might say different, but for me this was probably the best that I've ever done, because this was a convention where I had a lot of input into the guests. Very happy to say that, and delighted it worked out. We had down in Cork Roger Clark and Mick Melanphy, which I can actually say today. I'm delighted to say today they're both coming back for Dublin Comic Con in March of next year, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to have the two messers back, because they're great fun. Will they be alone? We shall wait and see.
Watch the space.
I can say no more other than that.
Yeah.
But because we had those down in Cork, I kind of had a chat with the guys, the organisers of Dublin Comic Con, about possibly getting more Red Dead, because clearly they're very popular. So we had a chat about it, and they said to me, "What about Benjamin Byron Davis and Rob Weedoff. And I just instantly said, 1,000,000% you need to get both of those. And if you can get any more, let me know. So they told me about the other two, which for the life of me now, the character's name have gone out of my head, but we got two more, the actors as well. And we got all four of them. So I was like, okay, right. So they've booked these guys under my recommendation. If they don't do well, I'm fucked.
It's on you, yeah.
It's on me. But then I decided to quadruple down and suggest other people. So then there was a possibility that we could get Anthony Daniels. I said, absolutely, 100%. We need to get Anthony Daniels. He's going to be super popular. We got Anthony Daniels. We had tried to get Kate Mulgrew for the past 2.5, 3 years, but it wasn't that she didn't want to come. It was just she was so busy. Yeah. So she finally made it over for the day on the Saturday, which was fantastic. And again, another thing was like, please get Kate Mulgrew. Please, I'll love you forever. You get Kate Mulgrew. We got Kate Mulgrew. They asked me about any more Star Trek actors, especially from the Next Generation. Did they miss anyone? I said, well, you haven't got Denise Crosby yet. Lo and behold, they get Denise Crosby in.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 weeks before the convention, we learned that we've lost Giancarlo Esposito, who is Gustavo Fring from, I was about to say Walking Dead there, no, from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And he was a governor in Star Wars.
Yes.
So unfortunately, we lost him. So then we were given a list of names who could possibly replace him. I looked at 2 names. I said, we need to get both of those, and we need to get them immediately. Because the series has just ended. It's their very first season. They're super popular. It is smashing watch records all over the planet. The fact that they have the joint highest rated episode on IMDb, it needed to happen. So we were able to get both Duncan the Tall and an egg from Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was absolutely fantastic to have both of them there. Like, one is 11 and one is 29, but you couldn't tell the difference between both because both are mature, but both are children.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And really, really lovely to meet them. So it was an opportunity for me to have the input to get those guys in, and everybody did fantastically well. They were really super popular. The guest talks, I think, were the best we've ever had. Talking with the Red Dead guys, and especially Benjamin Byron Davis, who plays Dutch in Red Dead, he said it was one of the best panels he's ever done. And I'm like, wow. I said, I really wasn't expecting that type of feedback. And he's like, no, any panel that we do that's fun, and we don't have to do much, we just have to sit there and talk. He said that's number one in my book, and I got the same feedback from the rest of them as well. The Denise Crosby interview I did was fantastic. Yeah, really this is the thing about Denise Crosby. You don't really realize it. Obviously, her second name is Crosby, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I was doing research on her. I was like, fucking Bing Crosby's granddaughter. What the hell? I'm like, I never knew that.
I was fascinated, like that didn't even come up in the panel. Like that was just that was just left on the floor, like in a sense. It was like because you had so much other stuff to talk about. Yeah.
I specifically didn't bring it up because the panel's not about him. The panel's about you. Yeah. So I said, we'll talk about you. We don't need to talk about him. We'll talk about you. And I thought her panel went really, really well. And then, of course, I got the chance to have a short sit-down interview with Kate Mulgrew herself. And just to me, was the absolute highlight, not just of the convention, but of my life. Yeah. Just to be able to sit there with her, and not only to sit there and chat with her, but for her to be as nice and as gracious as she was, to be able to, and she was finished, by the way. This was at the end.
Intense day, I was about to say.
This was after an extremely busy day. Her queue did not stop all day. She had more photographs, or more professional photographs taken than anyone else. To the point where there was, I think, close to 300 photographs she got taken on the day. She was busy all day. She only went for a short break and came back out and continued working. So the fact is that at the end of the day, she was still nice enough to say, sure, I'll do an interview with you. And I got to sit down with Kate Mulgrew, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Just absolutely highlight of all the stuff I've done with Comic-Con, which was really, really good. I learned she was going away for a few days. Obviously, I didn't say it to anybody that she was going to be going anywhere, because you don't want possible weirdos fucking going and following her. But she spent a couple of days up in Galway. But now I found out, I found out only this week why she was spending a few days in Galway, because she was actually going to look at shoot locations in
Oh,
Galway because she's shooting a new series in Ireland, and it's in association. It's not being fully made, but it's in association with RTE.
oh,
So
interesting.
there's a new show. She plays a New York City detective that is, we'll say, on leave or sabbatical,
Yeah.
and she's over in Galway, and a crime has been committed. And I think that's about as much as I know. But I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch this show. This is going to be great. I can't, like, please let the writing be good. Please let the writing.
I know she's been desperate to really get back to her roots as well in that respect. So like this
Yeah.
is probably something she's gonna really get her teeth sunk into as well. So
Yeah.
that hopefully that kind of comes across in what will be hopefully a labor of love, but in a very nice way.
Exactly. Now, the one thing when we were talking in our interview, she said, I asked her, what would be the one thing that I was like, I'm not going to ask you, have there been talks? I'm not going to ask you, is anything coming? I'm going to ask you, if they were to come to you, the executives were to come to you and to say, we want to bring you back, you're going to come back for Star Trek Janeway or Star Trek Legacy or whatever it may be, what would be the one thing that you would need? She was like, just excellence in writing. The show has to be excellent. And so I can't see her doing anything that's not like the
high
top
standard,
tier, the high standard, top tier of what she would expect from a show. So I'd imagine this drama set in Galway is going to be absolutely brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch the space in that one, and indeed watch the space when it comes to all the other Comic-Con givings that we're going to have over the year. Because, like I said, March was not the end, but maybe the beginning.
Nope.
Of Jerry's year, and have fucking fun with all the other assignments you're going to have over the year. We'll be checking in with you, as we often do when we're doing these podcasts at the end of the show, to see what we have next lined up in store. But until then, we're going to leave you here for tonight, gang. We've been chatting away for Star Trek Picard for longer than perhaps even the producers of Star Trek Picard have been. So we are going to leave it here for tonight. Keep an eye on our socials. Keep an eye on our channel for more of the same in terms of Best of All Worlds. Like I said, Monday Madness is now the home of Best of All Worlds, but you can still watch everything from our back catalogue on our side channel, Nerds of Us. The playlist will be up on the channel for you to enjoy. And obviously, if you're watching this in audio form, all the audio versions are also available to watch or listen to, indeed, on our stream as well. So until we see each other again, or hear each other again in that respect, we'll leave you with some wise words. Live long and prosper.
You can't see what we're doing, but live long and prosper.
I was going to say we were doing this audio only now, so we have to kind of actually say the words now. That's a bit awkward.
Yeah, so we have to say live long and proper.
Live long and proper. I like that. Yeah.
There you go.
I like that. You're better at this than I am, Jerry. Honestly.